Hello everybody, in this video I want to talk about the rogue class in the game Diablo 4 and one I'm pretty intrigued to try it out first when I jump into the game when it's released. Now, although many report that the rogue class is very strong when it comes to range and it's preferably the best choice to try to optimize for that, the rogue character can be melee as well and you can switch between the two. Similar to the Barbarian, you can have different weapons and you can switch between the two on the fly. Now, the rogue class can be for those who like very agile class, one that can move fast across the battlefield, relatively short frames, and be more methodical when it comes to and strategic when it comes to engaging with enemies. The rogue also had short cooldowns and it also boosts very high damage capabilities. And overall, the rogue is a very versatile character. It also uses grenades and traps, and again, the ability to switch between melee and range very appeals to me. Now keep in mind that the rogue is pretty squishy. However, you have an ability which is very useful called Dark Shroud. This is your defensive ability. As you can see, surround yourself with up to 5 protective shadows. Again, plus 8% damage reduction per active shadow. Now you still have a chance to not consume the shadow, 10% as you can see. However, this can be very good when you are playing in range because then you have less chance to actually get hit compared to if you go and attack in melee range. And you really want that as well because you can see with upgrade 2, countering while you have at least 2 shadows from Dark Shroud gain a plus 10% critical strike chance. So considering the fact that this is your main active defense capability, you can understand why people really enjoy playing it in range to make sure to make the best out of this ability. Now of course you have your synergies where you actually want to do the hybrid type of managing your attacks in order to make the best out of it and eliminate enemies faster. Its advantages, and some of the enemies may be slow and you can just finish them very fast if you just go and attack them separately, target them in melee range. Now I have to be honest with you, I play mainly in Diablo Immortal, the Demon Hunter, and although I really enjoy range, when I change after that to another class and I play the Barbarian, I realized how much fun it is to actually go back and start playing with melee. It just feels so tactile and satisfying. So having the ability to both do melee and range is something, again, because of that it really appeals to me because I can enjoy both of them on the same class. Now the rogue uses energy. This is kind of equivalent to the sorcerer using mana to execute its abilities. And if you look at the screen, you can see that the rogue has slots for both melee weapons and range weapon, in this case crossbow or bow. In terms of melee weapons, the character can use either swords or daggers. Now this will lead to a very versatile build, or some players will decide to focus just on the range aspect of the build, maybe just melee or combine them both. But I think the beauty of this class is actually the ability to switch between the two, and some situation you want to use range, again because again going to be some enemies that are going to be more, because of your squishiness, you're going to be more vulnerable, whereas some situation you probably will decide to use melee range in order to maximize your damage output and also enjoy some of the synergies that their class offers. And again, this will come with experience, different builds, and maybe specific zone that you decide to kind of maybe switch a bit, depends on the threats involved. Now again, depends on the build and how you plan to create your synergies. Your main stats are strength, intelligence, willpower, and dexterity, where when you invest in them, there's going to be offensive and defensive applications. So for example, if you decide to invest in dexterity, you're going to get increased skill damage, but again, percentage depends on how much points you invest in that specific attribute, and also it's going to improve your chance to dodge attacks. So again, it really depends how you try to manage your hybrid, or just go with specific one. This will of course have a direct implication of which attributes you're going to spend your points in. Now of course, every class has something special, something that makes it unique compared to other classes that you might want to invest in this specific class first, or at least make sure that you play it at some point. And when it comes to the rogue, is 3 specializations: the combo points, shadow realm, and exploit weakness. So you can use your combo, your basic attacks to actually get combos and give you certain benefits. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Right, now the ability of Shadow Realm allows you to take several enemies in a certain radius into a specific realm which is separated from other enemies, so you can finish him there and then deal with less enemies. And Explode Weakness, you're gonna deal guaranteed critical hit and also increase damage by 60%. Those are actually marked. So you need to kind of prioritize which enemies you hit in order to make the best out of it. Now your combo buff your different abilities. As you can see, depends on how much you stack. Again, you can stack 1, 2, or maximum of 3. So for example, for the barrage, it's going to be increased damage. So if you have a stack of 3, it's going to be plus 60% damage. And also more arrows. So it's going to be a total of 8 arrows if you stack 3 times. And this also applies to the rapid fire, penetrating shot, flurry, and twisting blades. Now, to be honest, the one that I'm very excited about is Shadow Realm. Because I play with Demon Hunter, I know how it's actually important it is when you're kind of overwhelmed and you don't really have a lot to do and you kind of circulate around enemies. So having both strong AoE and also the ability to kind of segment enemies and fight only, several of them instead of the entire pack can be very, very powerful. And again, not just that, you become immune for 1 second and also you deal a bonus 50% more damage. So again, if there's like a target that you really want to eliminate fast, it's quite beefy, and you want to make sure that you can eliminate it fast, well, this is the way to do it. And playing around this mechanic can prove to be very, very powerful and can get you out of troubles considering the fact that your character is pretty squishy. So again, immunity, ability to fight only few enemies, which is just by itself is kind of a damage reduction. And ability to eliminate it fast means, again, you get less damage, you could just get rid of the trouble. And when you get back, again, less enemies to deal with. All of that is kind of countering the issue with the character being pretty squishy. And of course, being able to maximize the damage using Exploit Weakness. Again, you can see this is guaranteed critical strikes and 60% more damage, which allows you again to eliminate some enemies very fast. You need to make sure, of course, that you target those enemies that are marked, and then you're gonna enjoy this really high buff of damage, which is great, especially if you are going for a very strong crit build. And again, remember, more damage, you eliminate enemies faster, less damage you get. So all of the things kind of work in terms of mechanic to make sure that you get less damage. So if you worry about the character being squishy, well, there are different ways to actually tackle this. I really like that, and it becomes by itself really nice mechanic to work around different situations in the game that can be a bit difficult because your character is squishy. So overall, it can be very good in PvP and PvE, and aside from that, it's really going to be fun to play with it. Kind of work around the mechanic that is not straightforward, just go and smash, like the Barbarian. I mean, really, I find it very, very interesting to play something like that. So yeah, it's super versatile, but it's not all. There's also the Imbue system for the rogue. Now, based on the element you use, you can actually see the icon actually color changing, as you can see now. Now, if you play Diablo 2, you probably know about hirelings in Diablo 2, when there are rogue archers that you can hire, and they can deal exploding fire, ice, and freezing arrows. So basically now you can actually do it yourself. And in one personal button, you can actually build different type of elements like poison, shadow, or cold. And the great thing is both for melee and range. It's great for teamfights, by the way. For example, if you want to use your blizzard to kind of use your frost to even totally freeze enemies in place. There are some also passive that actually enhances the synergy with imbuement. It's really amazing mechanic that gives you so much versatility. So again, after playing Demon Hunter in Diablo Immortal and I felt that it felt lacking, finally there comes a class that felt that it's going to be like a hybrid class that can really make me enjoy playing range, but also having the fun of melee and also the versatility that I really want in order to get from these difficult situations. So in general, I think that the rogue feels like the most versatile and interesting class in Diablo 4. I think that also it's really fun kind of creating build with it, and it can adapt to different situations. It's going to be something different, something special that I think I'm really going to like this time. It's also a class I think that your friends really kind of enjoy playing with, because your ability also to support, especially with the Imbue system, and your ability to keep kind of down the road, really find some very interesting and exotic builds that will feel different to anything that you played before in a Diablo game. But of course, all that yet to be seen. But again, looking at the things as of right now and based on some feedback from the community, what they are saying, And of course, we don't know yet. Again, things are subject to change based on the beta, of course, so some balancing will also take place. And I think overall, it will balance into that it will be a very, very strong hybrid character. It will be very fun to play and very, very strong, and one that can really deal lots of really crazy damage numbers, while also being able, if you play it well, to rock around its squishiness. So tell you, what do you think about the rogue? I don't know, I'm very intrigued to play it first because it looks so interesting, so versatile, and so much fun, and probably going to be amazing to create builds with. Let me know in the comment section below, and if you played it, by the way, in the beta, the alpha, you know, one of the development stage that you have experience with it, tell me what you think about it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Consider subscribing to my channel, give this one a little like. See you on the next one. Cheers.